Hi, this is Diane Lovetobake on YouTube. And what we're going to make are cocoa gingerbread cookies. These cookies are primarily, I like to make around, well, the holidays. But they are such a great tasting cookie. Well, you can make and enjoy them any time of year. But let's get started. First, why don't we start creaming our butter. We're going to need a 1/4 cup of butter. Okay, and I've had it at room temperature. I cut it into small pieces because I think it's easier to blend and cream and that type of thing. You're also going to be putting in 2 tablespoons of solid shortening. And I really think the shortening is what gives the cookie its crispness to it. And I'm just going to blend that and cream it. Okay. The next thing that we're going to be putting in is 1/3 cup of brown sugar. And let's cream and beat that together. You're also going to put a 1/4 cup of molasses in. Use whatever brand that you like or that you have. I want to get that all out of there. I usually even spray my little bowl with a little bit of light oil spray, and it comes out a lot easier that way. And let's just cream this. Now we're going to put 1 egg at room temperature and going to cream it all together. I just want to get to the bottom of my mixing bowl here a little bit. And I'm going to turn it on for a couple more seconds, so I want to warn you about the sound. The next thing that we're going to do is let's start putting our dry ingredients together. You're going to need 1½ cups of all-purpose flour. We're going to also put in a 1/4 cup of unsweetened baking cocoa. That's the unsweetened baking cocoa, and I'm just going to stir that together. You're also going to be putting in a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. You're going to be adding a 1/2 teaspoon of ginger, ground ginger. And just stir that in. You're also going to put a 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. So you can see all these nice spices that are going into this. You're going to put a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. You're going to put a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. And you're going to put a really small amount, 1/8 of a teaspoon of cloves. Now, this is what really makes the cookie, but if you don't like cloves, I would suggest to just add the additional cinnamon to it if you don't like cloves. But you really need to try it one recipe, and the cloves is what really, I think, accents this cookie, besides all the nice spices. And now I'm going to start adding the dry to the wet, so I'm going to warn you about the sound of the mixer. Put a little at a time till we make a dough. I'm going to put the rest of the dry in. And then just continue to beat it till it becomes a cookie dough ball. I'm going to turn up my mixer, so warn you about that sound. Take my paddle off here. Take off my excess. Now this particular cookie might need refrigeration for a half hour or 40 minutes, depending. If it's too soft for you to work with, then I would suggest to refrigerate it. We're not going to right now for the video. So we're going to see what it turns out. My kitchen is quite warm right now too, so that doesn't help. And then I'm just combining everything and bringing it into a cookie dough ball with my spatula. I'm going to just put some little flour down onto my countertop here and push this mixer out of the way. And I'm just going to, well, maybe it's good if you see the cookie ball itself. Let me get the rest out of there. Okay. And we'll get rid of this bowl. And this is what the cookie dough ball will look like. There you go. Okay. I usually get about 2 dozen cookies out of this recipe. Again, if it's too soft to roll out, put it in the refrigerator, put it in a bowl, of course, or piece of saran wrap, cover it up nicely, and chill it. Okay. You also will need a lightly greased pan to bake it in, or use your parchment paper. Okay, and let's just take a little piece from the cookie dough ball here. Now I might be using a little bit more flour because this is a little soft, and unfortunately, as I mentioned, my kitchen is quite warm right now. Now you want to roll them out to about 1/4 of an inch. I mean, you can make them whatever size that you want. That's up to you. And, you know, use whatever cookie cutter that you like. I'm just actually using one of these restaurant glasses, in fact, from my parents' restaurant from years past, and it does a great job and brings some good memories that I'm using these glasses from my parents' restaurant. Whoops, I had a little bit of water from the glass. Okay, so, and then just cut your cookie out. Now they are going to puff up when you bake them. So put them about 2 inches apart, you know, when you do. Of course, you're going to roll out a larger portion of cookie dough than I'm doing. I'm just, you know, doing this for the sake of the video. And like I said, it's a little bit soft. It would be much better to refrigerate this, but separate them about 2 inches. Now you're going to bake this at 400 degrees. Watch these cookies, because at 400, well, you know how high it is for the oven, and all our ovens set up so differently, and they could take you anywhere from 8 to 10 minutes. I actually start checking mine about 5 because of my oven. I worry about them, you know, drying out. Now, when they do come out of the oven, of course, put them on a cooling rack, okay? And when you want to bake these cookies, if you want them a little crisper, you know, bake them a little longer. If you want them to be a little moister or a little bit chewier, take them out early. So you're going to probably experiment with that on what, you know, you like and whatever. So I'm going to rinse my hands quickly here. I hope that I went through the ingredients clear enough for you because I'm sorry I no longer put my recipe below my video due to so many people taking my work, and this is happening to a lot of folks on YouTube, and taking them to different sites and that type of thing. And I only make my videos and put them on YouTube, okay? So hopefully you got that. Now, when they bake up, they will bake up like this. They have, you know, the nice chocolate cover or cocoa color on the top, a milk chocolate bottom to them, okay? And when you break them open, you will hear a bit of a snap. I like them to be more of a drier, a crisper cookie, but I'm not, you know, I don't want you to stay away from them because they're too dry either. If you want them a little bit chewier, then take them out of the oven sooner. It just has a nice snap to it. And let me break one open again. They're still moist enough. I don't know if you can see it as I'm pressing it down with my fingers, that it does have a chew to it, yet the outside is nice and crisp, and the inside, you know, has a softer filling in it. I hope that you can see that as I'm pressing that down. Okay. Now, generally they're going to taste better with an icing or a royal icing over them, or I usually just use a sugar glaze. I do about 2 cups of powdered sugar and just make it to the consistency of how thick or thin that you want it. You can use milk or you can use water for your glaze, that kind of thing. And just take your cookie and either, you know, dunk it into it or use your spoon or your knife. I think I'll just dunk it. And just let the excess run off. I like a nice icing on it. So then just let the excess drip off. What I like to do is to put a little decoration on the top. You don't have to, certainly if you don't want to. But I have some little jimmies here, colored jimmies that are green with little red balls on them. And then just set them on your cooling rack to dry. If you're in a hurry, I like to put them on a tray and actually put them in my refrigerator to set them up, or my freezer for a few minutes to set up the icing. So there you have it. You've got cocoa gingerbread cookies, really easy to make. In fact, let me show you now what they look like once that they've set up. They just make for a real pretty cookie. As I mentioned, it's a crisp cookie, but it does have a semi-chewy center. And they're fun to make for any time of year, whether it's the holidays or not. If you try this recipe and you like it, leave a comment because I'd like to hear from you. And please remember to and write to me and watch me on YouTube, because so many times people write questions or comments and I can't answer you because, well, by that video that you watched wasn't on YouTube. So it's very frustrating for me, and I want to be able to hear from you, and I want to be able to respond to you in a timely manner. So I want to always thank you for watching Diane Lovetobake on YouTube. If you're so inclined and you'd like to subscribe, that would be fantastic. Or give the video a like, or even ring the bell. I'd be most appreciative. I want to thank you for watching Diane Lovetobake, and all for my 16,000 plus subscribers out there. I want to thank you again for watching and commenting and writing to me on Diane Lovetobake. Well, I want to thank you again, and you know what? I'll see you soon.